Shalom Chaverim. Today, parashat Beshalakh. Before we start, just want to say you're going to be hearing some helicopters, some sirens in the background, more than usual today, as we are in downtown Los Angeles, and there's a historic protest happening today. So we will blend with the atmosphere. So today we're going to talk about Beshalakh with Max Weber. And here with his, probably was one of his most known essays, The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism. So just before I start, I have here two editions of the same book. If you would like to check it out, I definitely recommend this one, which is the Routledge edition, not the Penguin one. It's just way easier to read, to navigate, and the translation is better in my opinion. So I'm going to start right away here by reading from it. And Weber says this: the capitalistic economy of the present day is an immense cosmos into which the individual is born, and which presents itself to him, at least as an individual, as an unalterable order of things in which he must live. It forces the individual, insofar as he is involved in the system of market relationships, to conform to capitalistic rules of action. The manufacturer, who in the long run acts counter to these norms, will just as inevitably be eliminated from the economic scene as the worker who cannot or will not adapt himself to them will be thrown into the street without a job. So really 1904 it was written, really prophetic if you ask me, and we're going to get into it now here. So again, so The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, written by the German sociologist Max Weber. He was born in 1864 and died in 1920. Weber is actually considered one of the fathers of the field of sociology, and really one of the biggest contributors to the field of the social sciences as a whole. And Weber works, or especially his early works, really revolve around a critique that he has of modernity and how developments in our modern world really influence and change society. So what Weber is really saying is this, and it's very simple. The Enlightenment has brought with it tremendous progress, and it's very important to remember that Weber is not anti-progress. He really recognized the wonders and the prosperity of the humankind since the Enlightenment, and thanks to the Enlightenment. But he says here, these developments don't come without a cost. And there's a tremendous cost here to what us striving to organize our world better and understanding the world better, and our strive for efficiency in this organization. What does it rob us from? A lot of his ideas can seem very obvious today, but really remember, he was one of the first to really point those issues out in a very clear way. What's beautiful about Beshalakh, I think, is that it really illustrates one of Weber's ideas in a very poetic way, and it's not an incident because there's a big poem in the center of Beshalakh. So just to give you context where we are in the Torah, so we had the last 3 plagues, if you remember, last week, and then the Torah portion, Bo, and Pharaoh finally let the people go, and they go, but one last change of heart, and the Egyptian army is chasing, and here the Israelites are stuck at the shore of the Red Sea. The Egyptian army is closing in on them, and then the famous miracle of the splitting of the Red Sea. After that miracle, after the Israelites were safe on the other side and the Egyptian army drowned in the sea, Moses and Miriam offer a song or a poem that is known as Shirat Hayam, or the Song of the Sea. It's really, really beautiful in the Torah. It's actually, if you open a Torah scroll, you can see that the words itself are organized in a way that it looks like a split sea. It's really, really nice. And the first verse of this poem goes like this: אז ישיר משה ובני ישראל את השירה הזאת לאדוני, ויאמרו לאמור, אשירה לאדוני כי גאו גאה, סוס ורוכבו רמה בים. And this imagery, and I will translate it, is basically that Moses and the Israelites sang this song to the Lord, or to Adonai, and they said, I will sing to the Lord, for he had triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider he has thrown into the sea. As some of you have followed this channel know, I have tremendous problem with the JPS translation, which I keep bringing for some reason. But in order to understand how this beautiful imagery connects to Weber, I want to actually bring another commentator, which is one who's also a frequent visitor to our videos, the Netziv of Volozhin. So, and from his commentary, Ha'amek Davar. And I really want to read it. Listen, it's really, really beautiful. He says, a horse and its rider are on a level sea. This is the essence of the poetry. Of course, from the poetry of women. And the matter is that in the meaning of a horse and its rider, everything is included. Just as a horse prepared for war obeys its rider, so is a man of valor like a horse to his masters, walking through fire and water. And the greatest of them is like a horse to the commander of thousands. And the commander of thousands is the head of the commanders of armies, up to the Pharaoh himself. And this also includes the supreme commander who rides on Pharaoh Supreme's army. And for that supreme commander, the entire army is considered a horse. And all these are like the sea level. And that is it. Because he was elevated with pride, pride above all the proud. This is so beautiful. And let me explain what the Netziv is saying here. He says that what drowned in the Red Sea was not just people and horses. What drowned in the Red Sea is the idea of mastery itself. It's the idea of the rider that masters his horse, the Netziv says, is actually a slave to the commander that threw them in the situation of war. And that commander is a horse to the one above him, who is a horse to the one above him, and up until the Pharaoh itself. So there is here an entire hierarchical structure of slave and their owners that became level in the sea, that drowned in the sea. And this is a beautiful, fairly known commentary. And when I read it, it actually made me think of Weber, because I actually think that imagery of the horse and his rider, Sus veruchbo, really connects even better to Weber's idea of world mastery. So Weber, in a famous lecture in Munich in 1917, actually said, the fate of our times is characterized by rationalization and intellectualization, and above all, by the disenchantment of the world. So what Weber says here is that we strive to world mastery, right? We strive to again, understand the world better and organize it better. And what happens in the process is that the more we know, the more we lose the mystery in the world. He calls it disenchantment. The more we dissect and be able to penetrate deeper into the understanding of what we're doing, the more we fragment society. And so in order to be able to control it, building these massive bureaucratic systems where people are no longer people but numbers, right? We bring this disenchantment. So that mastery, right, that we are trying to achieve is entrapping us. And this is when Weber coined the term the iron cage. So basically that cost of that tremendous progress that then keeps sending us back to alienation and loneliness, that is the iron cage that we build upon us as we keep putting systems in place that then we cannot escape. And we cannot escape the iron cage because it ties together, it fused together with our advancement in technologies that we cannot do without. That's why we are trapped. And it's really, really interesting that the Maharal of Prague actually said about this verse from the poem, he actually said, it could have been written that just the riders drowned. Why the riders and the horses? And the Maharal says, Shneim kshurim ze baze. He basically said the horse and the man was one. And I think that this is really what Weber talks about, is that dependency. That dependency, we mastered the horse, we mastered the technology that we ride with, but at the same time, we cannot do without it. But the Torah goes one step beyond Weber. Weber talks about the iron cage as this is where we are now, and we entrapped ourselves, and we are fused with it. And how can we maybe improve the situation? The Torah actually goes one step further and said that fusion is not just entrapment, it's our demise. It's drowning. And there's another pair of words that I paid attention to in the verse, that it's not just the sus v'rochvo rama bayam, which means a horse and its rider, became the sea level, right? But before that it says, Ashira la Adonai ki ga'o ga'a. Okay, so there's this ga'o ga'a, you can hear it's a pair of words that are very similar. So again, the JPS translated to triumph gloriously. But what's nice about ga'o ga'a, first of all, ga'o or ge'ut is when sea level rises. So it's beautiful wordplay of sea level rises, of ga'o in the sense of elevation. So God was elevated. Ga'a, but that means pride. So it's and even the Nativ of Volozhin said he was proud above all the proud. So even the Nativ of Volozhin said that what drowned in the sea is not just a structure and not just a mastery, but that mastery that was done with arrogance. And I think that this is very important for us, as our arrogance really help us, move and zoom forward so fast. So we are now really standing in 2026 on the brink of the unknown. I think that we have reached such a development in technology that is so arrogant, a technology that creates technology, and we are becoming more and more fused with it. So if you take Weber and if you take the warning of the Torah, if you will, I think this is very, very relevant. And by the way, you could, if you want, have a theological read of that, and bring God into the picture. And the Mechilta, the actual midrash on Exodus, really say on this verse that ki ga'o ga'a, that pride, it says, is a reminder that anyone who dares to act arrogantly in the knowledge that there is God who's superior to him will be punished. So this is kind of like the theological punishment for arrogance. But I think that we can all see how even with God out of the picture, we are here punishing ourselves. So as the Torah words is forever relevant, maybe so is Max Weber's words. And I want to end by reading how what he writes in the end of this really, really fantastic essay. And yeah, I am in the right edition. Okay, so he says this. No one knows who will live in this cage in the future. And he is referring to the iron cage. Or whether at the end of this tremendous development, entirely new prophets will arise, or there will be a great rebirth of old ideas and ideals, or if neither, mechanized petrification, embellished with a sort of convolutive self-importance. For of the last stage of this cultural development, it might well be truly said, and here he quotes Goethe, specialists without spirit, sensualists without heart. This nullity imagines that it has attained a level of civilization never before achieved. Shabbat Shalom.